your premier Islamic TV station, bringing you the best in dawah, edutainment, inspiration, and more. Tune in now across Kenya as a free-to-air channel and on your preferred set-top box. Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Wanashitati nashta, watakaowafisha nyinyi ni malaika wa mauti.
Ishara zetu zinazotuongoza.
Ndipo hata Mwenyezi Mungu Subhanahu wa Ta'ala katika Qur'ani,
pokea ufahamu,
asema
na tahadhari,
la yanju min dhaqtati alqabri salihun wala talihun,
yazingatie,
haokoki na kufinywa na kaburi yoyote.
Jiunge na Sheikh Ali Bahero katika bishara zetu kila Jumanne saa 2 usiku kwenye Horizon TV.
Kiumbe dhaifu lakini jasiri.
Alitunukiwa sura nzima,
sura inayompa daraja yake inavyostahiki. Sharti ajigambe.
Naam, na pepo ipo chini ya nyayo zake.
Mpamba nyumba na nyoyo za wapendwa wake.
anayebeba majukumu yake pasina kupinga.
Mtazamaji, je, unamfahamu anayezungumziwa?
Bila ya kusahau hadhi yake na haki zake.
Ungana nami Rahma Swaleh na Sheikh Juma Amir,
tukuelimishe na kukupa mwelekeo katika maisha ya ndoa
kwenye kipindi Dira ya Mwanamke,
kila Jumapili saa 2:30 usiku majira ya Afrika Mashariki ndani ya Horizon TV.
Practice this direction from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala perfectly.
Reminders from the member.
Msije mkafata nyayo na barabara na njia ya shetani.
Saingine Muslim anafikiria ni kupata mali neema.
With the best of hatibs.
We tasted the pleasure, the sweetness of ibadah, because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said
there are no times that can be equal to these days except maybe.
Tune in to Horizon TV and watch Friday khutbahs from different masajid every Tuesday and Thursday at 5 p.m.
تبارك الذي نزل الفرقان على عبده ليكون للعالمين نذيرا.
Ni kitabu kitukufu.
Ni kitabu ambacho cha miujiza
kilichoteremshwa kwa mpangilio.
Hazikuletwa harufu hizi za mkato moja kwa moja.
Hakuna mfano wake.
Na hamwezi nyinyi Makureishi kuwa ni wenye kutunga kitabu kama hiki ingawa zimetumia harufu zile ambazo zimezitumia katika kuandika au katika kusema.
Miujiza yake Al-Malik.
Mwenyezi Mungu ana uwezo usiokuwa na kifano.
Ni malengo ya Qur'an.
Khazain zote za ardhi na samawati ziko mikononi mwake.
Sheikh Muhammad Badamana na uchambuzi wa Qur'an kwa undani kila Alhamisi saa 3 usiku kwenye Horizon TV.
Much makeup should a woman put when she's going out? Now, the answer to this is naturally a woman is created a very attractive person. And if she avoids, exposing her beauty, the better. Again, I go back, that's the whole purpose of hijab. So it should be very much on the minimal if she has to. And when I say the minimal, it means the natural, the lotion and what have you, and not lipstick, not the mascara, not the too much things that women tend to do. So when a woman is going out, then she should put it on the minimal, only do what is natural and avoid makeup as much as possible, because again, if she puts too much makeup, that will flout her hijab rules. So she should put it on the minimal, and if she wants to put makeup, she can put it inside her home, maybe before her husband and before her mahrams. Wallahu a'lam. How come Muslim men and women are not allowed to shake hands. Now, Muslim men and women are not supposed to shake hands because it is prohibited in the religion of Islam. And of course, as we said, this whole aspect, the hijab, the free mixing are all related. Therefore, we are not allowed to shake hands unless we are shaking hands with the mahrams, and that is to minimize fitna and of course to minimize anything that would come with the shaking of hands. Now, may I just mention that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibited zina, fornication, adultery, whichever we want to look at it, he did not just say do not commit, he said do not go near. And one of the things that would take us near zina is of course shaking hands, the eye contact and the other issues that we've been taught. And it has been reported authentically that Rasulullah ﷺ said it is better for a woman actually, for a man to hold a hot coal. Of course, we have incidents where there are those who've been asked if you have to hold a woman's hand, then it's better you hold a hot coal than to hold her hand. So because of the fitna and what will come after that, we are not allowed to shake hands. Am I allowed as a woman?
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban. You are watching the Sabah Show. Keep it locked right here on Horizon TV.
Naam, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, mpenzi mtazamaji wa the Premier TV, Islamic TV station Horizon TV. You are being joined by Mariam Wacharo, standing in for Yusuf Farah, and Muhammad Abura, who is going to be joining us later. You're watching Tech Tuesday. We're standing in for Yusuf Farah. Remember, today being the 22nd of Rabi'ul Awwal, 1441, same as the date today here, 19th of November, if I'm not wrong, 2019. Yeah, 19th of November. Hope you're having a lovely day. Do welcome to the Sabah from the center of CBD, Nairobi here. Jamia Mosque and offices are Horizon TV offices. Rasmi na kukaribisha mpenzi mtazamaji. With me Abdul Hakim Kigen, as usual, yeye si mgeni hapa kwenye studio zetu, and today I also have Victor Ruto. Gentlemen, karibuni sana. Tuanze moja kwa moja with the newspaper review. Remember, you can join in our discussion on our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Horizontv Kenya. Or you can also chat with me directly on my Facebook at Mariam Kasim, and I'll be taking your comments. We have very interesting things today. Starting this morning, taking a look at all the papers today are talking about the results for the KCPE students. We have private schools top, and the same thing on Daily Nation there, private schools top, and we have People Daily saying faces of KCPE top performers, and we have a couple of lists. And what's interesting, this morning when we came in public and looked at the list of newspapers, we were wondering, hey, where are the Muslim students? How come we're not seeing some of these faces, some of these schools that we know usually perform very well? If we take a look at the Daily Nation, some of the lists there are on pages 2 all the way to 13. But interesting to say is that, you see, most students here that have been listed are between 425 marks, 421, 417, and we see Nairobi and most of other counties. Now let's take a look at this. Nairobi Muslim, has top students. Let's hail our own people. We have Hafsa Harun, who's leading with 424, and Hamoun Muhammad, 411. That's Nairobi School. And we also have another county here that we don't see it in the papers, and we see one Leila Nazneen Cherop, and I think this is from Uasin Gishu County. That's Kapsabet Nandi County, actually. And here she has, if I'm not wrong, Leila, 418 marks, but we're not seeing this on the papers. Now, initially, we were planning to take a different angle, but Keegan, if I can come to you, how come this is happening? Like, I'm seeing a 417 on the paper here, but I'm not seeing a 426 that was actually scored by Hafsa Harun from Nairobi Muslim. How come? How come this is happening?
It's always a pleasure to be here at Horizon TV. I particularly on what you've asked, I think what the dailies put out yesterday is that they gave out a number, and also through their social media platforms, you could send 400 and above. If your child has gotten 400 marks and above, you would send her index number, the county, the name of the school, and the name of the child as well, so that they can be put up in the media. So maybe others did not send, and that's why we are having that kind of a scenario today. It's
not propaganda or anything.
It's not propaganda. It's just the ones who sent.
But don't you think media has access to even the list of students that have performed well in the country?
Absolutely. And if I can remember well, there was a time, if you can take back to even 2010, there were times when the dailies and the TVs would rank top 10 schools,
yes,
top 10
yes,
primary schools and high schools, and also top 10 girls, top 10 boys, top 10 overall mixed gender. But it reached to a time where they banned ranking. And that's why we don't have that kind of a scenario today, because you're not allowed to rank.
This is another type of ranking. Wouldn't you agree,
I think
Mr.
this
Ruto?
is just awareness and just for the grace of it. Maybe you can say that.
Well, Mr. Ruto, what are your 2 cents about this story?
Let me tell you something. I'm happy to be here, and I want to say and to shed light on this paper. Let me tell you something. I beg to differ from what media is doing, printing names of students who tops in Kenya. I'm thinking of a scenario of a student in Baringo who scored 300 maybe and 2 or 270 marks. This student has gone through hardships. This student, maybe even on the day of even exams, maybe his parents passed on, maybe even on the day of doing exams. There are students who even were displaced, they had no homes. And then you come and now rank students. You come and say private students top. You know, this kind of ranking should stop. For once, because you cannot come in and commercialize education. This is commercialization of education. When we have an headline of a magazine saying private school stops, that means then, where are our public institutions? We have students in this country who come from the corners of these nations, who go through hardships. We need, when we are doing our rankings, we need to prioritize. And this is demoralizing even students. There is a student who maybe goes into school 5 kilometers to school. These students has been able even to score maybe 290 marks, which is a dream even to score that mark.
Yes.
And then you come here and then you say that you are ranking 400 students. Yes, it is well to rank, but now this student in private university has got all the privileges. You know, this student may be studying 18 hours or maybe 14 hours a day. We have a student who even struggles to get even a cup of tea in the morning and to walk maybe 5 kilometers to school. And even scoring that mark is even a privilege. And the government had stopped these kind of rankings. And I am very bitter when I see this kind of headline, because one, it is not a way of appreciation. Once the headline is saying private school stops, why do you put resources in public institutions and then you come and privatize and commercialize education in the sense that you are saying that private school stops? These are students with different privileges.
Yes.
We have a student maybe in Turkana who has even scored maybe 250 mark, struggling to score that mark. And then here you come in, and then it's a way you are even discouraging that student.
Yes, Keegan, I can see you bouncing up and down. You are burning with a point.
Not really burning, but I think I beg to disagree with my brother. I think it's really ridiculous to say that we can't appreciate somebody who's done well just because others have done poorly. It would be foolish of me not to agree that there are there are kids and children in this in this country that you know are learning in the worst of conditions and the worst of circumstances, which is really, really very unfortunate. But we must appreciate that there are kids also from the marginalized areas who've scored above 400.
But
And
why do you think? Why do you think?
In celebrating those who have done well, there are also some who have done well and they're from who beat all the conditions, and it's only fair that we congratulate them and give them a pat on their back. And I really don't think this is ranking, because if it was ranking, the dailies would have gone and picked the official NEC results and ranked, as I had said earlier, the best girl, top 10, whatever, those kind of things.
So what is this? What is this?
I think this is mere appreciation. And if you look at the headline, private schools topping, I don't really think it's commercialization, because at the end of the day, it's a fact. And it shouldn't be criticism, rather it should be a reflection that yes, our private schools are doing better than the public schools. So what is the way forward for our public schools? And one thing that we had discussed here, if I'm not wrong, some 2 weeks ago, is a matter of where private schools, what they do is that if they have 50 students, they only register 20 students, 20 of the best, and this 30, they take them to public schools, you know. So we should be having those kinds of conversations.
Let me tell
So,
you.
however, if you decide that this is not ranking, whatever it is, if it is appreciation, then you should do appreciation accordingly, right? You should not just do appreciation of some people and then some of them are given, you know, the black spot. And we come to realize that there's some top performers actually who have not been captured in the dailies as they should. You know, once you put someone on a daily like this, how many people have access to this paper?
Okay.
How many people?
Okay.
So that means you're putting this student to also more opportunities, don't you think?
To even add
okay,
wisdom.
you know, it's the ranking is, this is, I wouldn't really call it, I'm looking for the word, but you know, this is kwa hiari yako. It's your own wish to be put on the newspaper, because it's upon you to send the name of the candidate with the index number and the marks and the
But take a look at a parent who does not have radio, who does not have TV.
Absolutely, but again, ranking is not everything. If you have 420 ranked or not ranked, you're going to a national school, isn't it?
Let me tell you something, Keegan. This is a daily nation,
absolutely,
which is being even read by the president of this country. This is a daily nation which even is being read by people who even are not citizens of this country, the international community. When you go on and rank a student and you say this student has topped, there is even a student who is even topping in that area, in that remote area, even with 320 mark. That student has really struggled, has beaten all the odds to even ensure that he's in school. And then you are coming here to publicize someone, saying it is your wish. Yes, it may be your wish, but it is not fair. If even it was to be done this way, it should be this way. We have schools which are grade A schools, we have grade B, grade C, and even grade D schools, which students even study on rather, they don't even have classes. You know, they study on games, rather, they don't even have these facilities.
Yes, and if you remember just the other day when they started the examinations and the rains were there, some of them were swimming to do the exams.
Absolutely.
That even withstanding, there are students even who are displaced even in Mao. They get no families, and this student has really struggled. And then you come here as the Daily Nation, you bring a picture of someone who has scored 440, you know, and telling us he's topping. It's not fair.
Mariam,
it's
honestly speaking,
why did the government stop ranking in the beginning?
In the beginning, it was to, I can't speak for the government because I'm not the government, but I can say honestly, the conversation around whether this is ranking or not ranking, I feel like the conversation is neither here nor there. But I think if he has made a very good point, that there are kids, for example, who has gotten 350 and is in a marginalized area. And that is why we have this great initiative by NEC and by the Dr. Magoha said that the placement of the schools is going to start today.
Yes.
And it will, by the 2nd of December, every child
will be coming to that very soon.
You find that we have a kind of a structure where if you look at a school in Nairobi, somebody has scored 400 marks and another one has scored 370. Let's take a case of Alliance. The one in Marsabit with 370 marks will go to Alliance. The than the one in Nairobi with 420 marks. That's why we have those kind of structures.
Yes,
so
and,
really,
and if we take a look, the Cabinet Secretary for Education has actually, promised that every student will get a school. And we do hope that he's going to take a look at these variables as we transition.
Before we go far, let's get our facts right. I think 4 months ago, the CS for Education, Magoha, said that this time round, there will be fair placements. In fact, he said, I remember him saying, even a student in Turkana or Baringo, whichever way, if you score below the mark of a national institution, you are not given that priority to go to a national school. What you're saying, Gigan, was done, in fact, before even Matiang'i came in, when they considered students from marginalized communities to even join national schools with lower marks. Absolutely. But that is not yet the case right now.
And
right now,
we have to speak against that.
Yeah,
yes.
Right now, even a student from Turkana County who is struggling and getting even that 320 will go to that they call Arambe schools. This is not fair at all. We have students who are really struggling, and then you come in here, you're telling us that you cannot consider that student. Let me tell you, in fact, what was done earlier was better. They used to consider students who come from harsh areas. But now, what is being done right now by the Ministry of Education, to me, it is real commercialization, because it's like they are giving an upper hand to private institutions.
Now, as we take a look at that, Mr. Ruto, thank you very much for that contribution. When we come back, we'll definitely be delving more into education matters. And yeah, as Keegan has said, we have to speak against it. And, we hope that the Education Cabinet Secretary, Magoha, will take a look into that there are some students out there who had to swim to take their examination to wherever they are. So you get to your examination room and you're dripping wet and there's nothing you can do. You have to take your exam. So these things have to be taken into consideration. There's no electricity in some areas in our country. There are areas that are war-stricken. There's raids all over the place and you still have to do your exam. So these things have to be taken into consideration when you're allocating these students into schools. Let's take a short break. We'll be back. Do not touch that dial.
Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban. You are watching the Sabah Show. Keep it locked right here on Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation. On the next episode,
walam ta'rif, huyu mwanamke hakumjua kama huyo ni nani, ni Mtume sallallahu. Fakila laha, kisha kukasemwa kuambiwa huyu mwanamke, huwa Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, yule aliyekwambia nche Mungu na usubiri na ukamwambia niondokee, msiba huu haukukupacha wewe, ni mtume sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Fa akhadhaha mithlu almaut, akaja akafikiwa kama mfano wa mauti. Mimi yale niliyomwambia kumbe ni mtume sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Kasikia dhiki sasa.
The Messenger of Allah said, whoever says when the morning comes, رَضِيتُ بِاللَّهِ رَبًّا وَبِالْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا وَبِمُحَمَّدٍ نَبِيًّا, meaning, I am pleased with Allah as the Lord, and with Islam as a religion, and with Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam as a prophet. Then I am the guarantor that I will take him by his hand until I put him into Jannah.
قال تعالى
Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban. You are watching the Sabah Show. Keep it locked right here on Horizon TV.
Thank you for continuing to stay tuned on the Islamic premier station Horizon TV. You are watching Tech Tuesday with me, Mariam Wachara, sitting in for Yusuf Farah and possibly Mohammed Abura if he's going to join us later. And we're on the newspaper review. If you're just joining us, you're not late. The discussion on the studio was hot. We're talking about the KCPE results that just came out. And just as we were talking about the needy students who we were talking about it and saying that the education ministry should actually consider the students who faced hardships before taking the examinations into the enrollment in secondary schools. Let's come to a story here on the Daily Nation, page 5. It says needy learners to get scholarship. A new full scholarship program to be rolled out by the government in an effort to further improve the transition rates from primary school to secondary school. Now, the Elimu scholarship program for needy learners is an improvement of the free day tuition program implementation on secondary schools by the government since 2008, and it will target learners from poor backgrounds. Beneficiaries of the new program will be from target regions, according to Education Cabinet Secretary George Magoha. Now, this is something I think we need to hail, just as we were talking about, the students who faced hardship and everything. This is actually something I think parents need to take into consideration. What do you think, Ruto?
First of all, we need to define the word needy for us to before we think of scholarships. We need to define the word needy, because for once in this country, we have seen cases whereby you find that a student has scored good marks coming from a middle family, or rather from a good, well family, but you find that these parents go for these scholarships which are meant for needy students. And then we have a student maybe who is not even, or rather does not have access to this information in a very remote area with even, let's say, even 290 marks or 300 marks, but it's very needy, a struggle to score that mark. We need to give opportunities to those people who really need these opportunities. Because I've had or I've seen scholarships which sponsor students in the name of performance, whereby they sponsor 350 marks and above or 400 and above. When a student scores 400 and above, there are higher chances that this student comes from a well-off family, having all the resources and facilities to even score that good mark. When you come in and give scholarship to this top green student, you are giving an added privilege to someone who already have a privilege. I think these scholarships should stop considering score, mark, and come in to details of students who come from needy backgrounds. Yes, they need to pass, but irrespective of the mark, they need also to consider those extreme cases of students who even with a 300 mark, but from a poor background, and even assist this student. That's my take. Yeah.
Keegan.
Starting with what my brother said here, I really think for scholarships, scholarship is like, first of all, let me start by saying, lacking is a very unfortunate event.
Yes.
You've passed, you have fantastic, your future is bright, but then you are just lacking, fees, or you're lacking, upkeep or something. It's really unfortunate. And you find I think scholarships that are there in Kenya they're really very, very comprehensive, and they're very, what is the word really? They're very good, because you find that they look at marks, yes, but you find that you first need a letter from a religious leader, if it's your pastor or imam, you need a letter from a chief, you need a letter from the school. They even come to your home to observe if really what is the state or your financial status before they give you the scholarship. And I think this move by the government is really good, because you find children from marginalized areas and in the urban areas from the slums. It's really an unfortunate event where we've had and we've seen in the media cases of students having 400 plus, very good marks. They've been called to very good schools, but again, fees becomes a problem. And we've seen well-wishers coming in and NGOs on their own platform. So it's a very good move for the government coming in. And absolutely, we also want to commend the government on the move that really took traction last year, 2018, starting January, where you find the local schools, zile za chini, that they don't need to pay school fees. They just need to pay some few fees here and there that are required by the schools, which is very important, because you find most of the kids who go to these local schools, you find that they don't have the capacity to pay. And we were seeing in the media that it is being reported even now that the suicide cases have reduced, because it was a problem where you are even in Form 4, you are not allowed to do your mocks just because you haven't paid your fees, you are told to go home, and it was really hitting up on the students.
Yeah, and that actually even draws to the cases of depression in the country, being a mental illness that wasn't even taken into account.
And Mariam, just to add on, one thing that we need to look at is, as a precautionary measure, is we don't want to see in these 9,000 scholarships the cases that we've been seeing with the CDF, with the affirmative actions, and with the county bursaries, where it's given to people that are known to the ones that issue it out, and not really given on the people because of merit, you know, and the people who really need it.
Yes.
So that's something that CS Magoha and his whole team should really be looking at.
Yeah, and actually, when you were talking about that, there was a comment that actually came in here, and that's the same case. One Muhammad Hussein here says, hizo bursaries, hizo scholarships zenye zinapeanwa, afadhali zipeanwe kwa people who really need them. Most of the time, they're given to people who are known by maybe the chief or anyone, or people who are known in the offices huko juu. Please take a look at our citizens, take a look at our children. They could be depressed and they could end up doing things that we do not appreciate in the society. This is how we can only curb crime rate in our country. As crime is going high, let us look at the youth down here so that we can uplift them and make them good citizens in the country. All right, thank you very much. Remember, you can join in the discussion on our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Horizontv Kenya, or you can send in your comments on my Facebook at Mariam Kasim, and I'll be taking a look at them. Let's take a look at page 11 there of the Daily Nation. Form 1 selection begins today, as you just mentioned, Keegan. Now, Professor Magoha says all candidates who sat KCPE exams will get secondary school slots. Now, the selection of Form 1 places begins today and should be concluded by December 2nd, Education Cabinet Secretary George Magoha said yesterday. Now, I have a question. This did not start today. You know, the Education Ministry always promised that most of the students who usually do their exams, they will get to secondary school. My concern is our schools sometimes get overflocked, if I can say that for lack of a better word, with students. Teachers have been complaining that the population in the schools are too much for them to handle. A class could have 70 students for a teacher to take care of, you know, or 150. Some classes we've seen on the news that, you know, half of the class is Form 1 and then the other half is Form 2. So how do you think this should be done so that we can also get quality in education, Mr. Keegan, if I can come to you with that?
If there's one thing that we can't afford to mess with is really education.
Yes.
And not just education, the quality of education. You know, if you're producing people who are sober, you know, their sobriety levels are high because of the kind of good education that they've passed through, you know, you're going to build a very good society. And coming into this Form 1 selection, first of all, I really want to commend the overhaul that was brought by Dr. Fred Matiang'i, where, you know, Form 1s used to join on February, others even would join on second term. This is really amazing that, you know, by 2nd of December, you'd have known which school you're going to.
By January,
by January, you know, and it's really amazing with the quick process that you get your results so that it doesn't, you don't carry a load over your shoulder, you know, the anxiety that usually goes on with everything. But one thing that I really want, and as I've just said that, you've seen how this process has been carried out really meticulously. You find that even in the process of administering the education and the kids writing the education, you find that there were only 4 children out of 1,083,000 who undertook the KCPE that they did not get their results because of some malpractice, which is really amazing. You know, only 4 out of 1,083,000, back from when we used to have thousands, you know, missing their results, which really shows that we have made a very huge step in terms of people really kuvuna walichopanda.
Yeah.
But last year we had a very big issue with the Form 1 selection, with the IFMIS system. And it was like a commotion because you'd go to this school, you're told you're not in the system. You've bought the uniform, you bought everything, If they tell you the IFMI system does not recognize your index number from the school that you came in. And it was really, it caused a lot of havoc and chaos. And I would really like to appeal to the Ministry of Education that let this time be a very different scenario, because it causes a lot of inconveniences and frustrations to parents.
Yeah, if I can throw the same ball to you, Mr. Ruto, what do you think should be done or can be done in order to also curb what Mr. Keegan has just talked about, and as well the population in secondary schools, that these students see 1 million and something done the KCPE examination. We do not have 1 million and something schools to accommodate all the students. What can be done so that we can get quality education in secondary school?
Mariam, what we need to do is we need to consider those schools which I can term as day schools. We have schools in this country which has been neglected by government. We cannot accommodate all students in, or rather, national schools. We have been having a situation in Kenya whereby we flux the national institutions, or rather the national schools, with a lot of students which cannot even be accommodated. We need to even give chances to those we call CDF schools, day schools, and also provisional schools. We need to pump a lot of resources in those institutions so that we can improve the structures in those institutions and get our students go there, get the same resources as in Alliance Girls, get the same resources which can be available in Kapsabet Boys. These students can go to an environment in a day school, go to a day school even with laboratories, go to schools which there are facilities, so that we can even cap these cases whereby you find an institution, because they have, you know, as a parent, I would like to take my kid where there are facilities. I'll take my boy or my girl to a school where there are facilities. So it is high time for the government to consider those institutions, or rather those schools which are in the villages, give them resources, build structures, build laboratories, build dormitories for the parents to consider those institutions, so that we can cap these cases whereby we find there are institutions which accommodate, or rather take students which they cannot.
Yeah, apart from about that,
Mariam, I think it is a time of optimism, you know, and there is light at the end of the tunnel, because we saw the president, you know, he commissioned 8 billion to go into infrastructure in high schools. And what I wanted to appeal is that let's not see the ghost of corruption coming into this money, because we want to see laboratories in schools, we want to see extensions, we want to see proper desks in schools, we want to see the 1-to-1 ratio of the textbooks being given by the government, because I'm sure there are in day schools, as my brother has said, I'm sure we have scenarios, maybe we even have 1 book per class. And the proper should really be a ratio of 1-to-1, 1 student, 1 textbook.
Yeah, and also about that, you know, just the other day when a student reacted to some, you know, chemicals during the KCSE examination, some of the students came out to say that they had never been in a laboratory before. They had never seen a titrator, or, you know, they'd never titrated, they'd never seen a Bunsen burner. It was for the first time they were seeing it during exam. And we know how we all swallowed these liquids when we were doing some of these tests. So the government really needs to take that into concern. As we still delve on matters education very quickly here, on page 22, Daily Nation, we have TUM students forced to leave off campus for lack of hostels face risk of attack. Now we know the story goes on to explain how one of the students was attacked by a gang, and his phone was stolen, but he was left, you know, without some fingers, machetes were wielded, and one of the students is actually in ICU. This is a very common case in most of the public universities that we have. Most of the students do not make it to, you know, hostels. Some of them may not afford them, some of them hostels ni kidogo. Like TUM University, they say they only have 1,200 accommodation and the students are 10,000. What is the way forward? Because we have to protect our youth. We have to protect these people that we are putting them into the education system so that they can come and develop our economy. Mr. Ruto, if you may put your 2 cents onto that very quickly.
Mariam, there is a sense in which I think government and parents have, in a way, think that when you are in a university, you are a grown-up and you don't even need much care. And this is what even is contributing to these cases in universities, whereby you find that students are in a university, the administration doesn't even get concerned where these students sleep, what they eat, and how they even spend their time. I may be having maybe, in a week, I may be having maybe 3 classes. And then the rest of my time, I spend where maybe I sleep or where I stay. But you find that there are no facilities in higher learning institutions where these students can even get well accommodations, food and whatever. So I've seen a trend whereby crime rates in campuses have really increased. due to insecurity cases. And this insecurity is being perpetuated by drugs in institution, whereby you find that students are succumbing, they succumb to drugs. There is hopelessness, I think for once government should consider students in higher learning institutions where they sleep, what they consume, and even their security.
Yeah.
Yesterday or the other week in JKUAT, you see what happened.
Yeah.
Students are being butchered because of insecurity cases. I think the government should enforce security in these higher learning institutions, and even before even a university is commissioned to receive students, the queue, which are in charge of placements in higher learning institution, should go take a look to this institution. Does the institution have where students can be accommodated well, like hostels and wherever, before even commissioning students to go to those institutions, so that we cannot have these cases.
Yeah, the case on security. Keegan, before I come to you, let's take a short break, and then when we come back, we'll be delving more into matters as we wrap up. Continue on our newspaper review. Now remember, you can join in the discussion on our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at Horizontv Kenya, or you can chat with me directly on my Facebook at Mariam Kasim. See you in a short while.
Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban. You are watching the Sabah Show. Keep it locked right here on Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban. You are watching the Sabah Show. Keep it locked right here on Horizon TV.
Yes, thank you for continuing to tune in on to the premier Islamic TV station, Horizon TV. Remember, you can join in the discussion on our social media platforms. I am getting some comments here. We can take a look at the Star here. It also covered on the Splash. It covered some of the faces of the students that was not to be covered in other newspapers. And we have here Fatma Ali Saman, a tweet, and she said, Subhanallah, even after Muslim Daily Nation doesn't show them among the best kids. Kids with lesser marks have been displayed as among the top 100. Outright discrimination against Muslims. Shame. I wonder what the fees is. Now let's take a look at a story here on the Standard. Keegan.
I'm not very sure about that.
Yeah. Let's take a look at a page 10 there on the Standard. We have underage candidate numbers up by 4,000, and the story goes on to say that now we have underage students. And my concern is, what is this underage? Because today, as we take a look at how our students, how our kids today are developing, 2-year-olds are playing with tablets. They know the way through the internet. I think they should just join school. Should we actually grade, should we actually wait for students to attain, or kids to attain a particular age before they join school, or we just take a look at how they're mentally developed and if they're ready to join school? Keegan.
Allow me, Mariam, to go back to the tomb story just for a moment.
Yeah.
Where the Technical University of Mombasa, there are claims, and protests of insecurity. And they're saying that the hostels are not sufficient.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just there. The University of Nairobi collectively has 94,000 students. Obviously, they can't have accommodation for all the 94,000 students. University of Nairobi operating in the 1950s, same structure, which is finite, and today the population really can't fit in. I think there is some misreporting in that, because it should be your right to be, it is your right to be secure whether you live in a hostel or not.
Yeah.
It's not that if you're not living if you're living in a hostel, now your security is guaranteed. No, it should be both ways. And particularly this being a case of Mombasa, and we've seen machete wielding gangs in Mombasa, and really it's been a whole narrative that really took over in September, August, July, and we had a lengthy conversation on that. So I would really like to appeal to the security apparatus there to really be on the watch, because one thing that these security apparatus sometimes tend to behave in a manner like they protect what they deem more important. So maybe they'd protect an estate of people and maybe leave students, because at the end of the day, they are just students.
Yeah.
So really, you know, these are also Kenyans, and,
Yes.
they have equal rights as
Yes,
others are
true.
supposed to have.
True, very true.
And coming into this story of underage candidates, it's quite an interesting conversation, because I find it really interesting when somebody says, my child should not go to school at 3 years simply because you went to school when you were 5 years, and that is 30 years ago. You know, it's quite interesting.
Exactly.
I mean, the kids of these days, it's a different tune. You find that when they're 2 years, they have a tablet, they can play a game and even go to some levels that you yourself cannot get into those levels. So let them go to school, let them learn. What is the harm? I'm not seeing any harm with it. If they were, for example, engaging in things that they are not supposed to engage in, maybe past 18 years, then it would be a problem. But it's just education. Tell guys, relax, it's just education.
Yeah.
And this whole thing, I think also something that we should really keep an eye on is that the absenteeism of the candidates was a big problem. Because you find that in 2017, the absenteeism was around 3,900 on average, and in last year it went up to 6,200, which is something that we should really look at, because that's almost double the figures. What is happening? Because when a kid misses schools, automatically that's going to translate into the results, which is something that we should really look on. And another part, just to comment to the Ministry of Education, is where we had the children with disabilities. We had 2,700 of them, you know, this time doing KCPE, and the best of them had 414, if I'm not wrong, out of 500, which is a very big step. You know, taking a look back to 2008, 10 years ago, there were around around 500 to 1,000 who were doing KCPE. So it's a very big step, because, you know, disability should not hinder you from education.
Yeah. Let me, Mr. Ruto, bring your attention to our story here on the Standard, page 18. U.S. bans Wako wife and son over graft. Now, the U.S. government has banned former Attorney General Wako, his wife and son, from traveling to the country. The ban by U.S. President Donald Trump's administration did not disclose specifics on the matter, only referencing to the involvement in significant corruption. And the story also says, during his 2 decades in office, critics claimed Wako, who was admitted to the bar in 1970, often failed to prosecute senior government officials accused of committing graft, an accusation he... Mr. Ruto, do you think this is something that Kenyans should actually appreciate, that the U.S. government, you know, is also assisting us in fighting corruption, and something that Kenyans should actually take up and, you know, take into consideration, you know, more strongly?
First, Mariam, it's a quite unfortunate situation, even for our country, to have someone who has been AG, Attorney General for Kenya, for 20 years. Amos Wako has been an AG for 20 years. An AG is someone in a country where is responsible, and it should be a person with highest dignity and upheld law. And now we are coming here to see that Amos Wako was banned from stepping into US.
And this is not the first time.
I must applaud even the US for doing that. For one, in this country, we have been politicizing the issue of corruption and thinking that politicians, or rather top politicians in this country, are corrupt. We have even people in institutions, even lawyers, who are doing corruption. You know, I was even scared or shocked to see Amos Wako, who is even the senator of Busia, being ranked or recognized in US as a corrupt man. In fact, for Kenya, we need even to go back to our dignity and morals, because an AG should be someone with great respect. And when you see Wako, I think US is even assisting Kenya to fight corruption. And I think the Kenyan government should even follow that track of even making sure that, irrespective of the position you hold, irrespective of who you think you are, you should be, let us call us a spade, you know. If you are corrupt, you are corrupt. And even the US government is going a step further to ensure that the wife and the son, or rather the daughter, doesn't even step into US, because these people have been engaging in corrupt way. I can take you back to 2007 when Amos Wako was the AG, and he barred the US agencies who were coming to Kenya to do research, or rather to do investigation on the 2007-2008 election
violence.
The guy was in office, and he was the one who banned these guys from coming into the country to do investigations. He was someone in office who was responsible to let these people in, for us as a nation to have a nice environment and to investigate these cases. But now this guy went ahead and banned this guy. And I think the US keep the records clear, and it is high time for WACO and the likes to know that nothing hidden go for long.
Mr. Abdul Hakim, should we applaud this as Kenyans and take that as an example and deal with corrupt leaders in our country?
Madam, I feel like covering my face while commenting on this story. Because, you know, this is a mockery on our judiciary.
Yeah,
this is a big embarrassment for our country.
You
know, that, you know, much hasn't been said about Amos Wako in the country as we've heard about other corrupt leaders. And, you know, the US flagging this out, it's like our judiciary and our investigative authorities are sleeping heavily. And it's, I feel embarrassed a bit as a Kenyan because, really, other people had to do the job for us. Because you find Amos Wako is somebody who's been at the forefront of big changes in Kenya. He was at the forefront he oversaw the 1992 multi-party, moving from one party state to multi-party. He saw NAC coming in 2002.
Yeah.
He was one of the people who drafted the 2010 constitution.
Yes.
And he's also one of the people in the BBI committee who are drafting the 9-point agenda. And really, he's such a big figure, and he's a former senator of Busia County. And him being put out this way, it's a big issue, but again, not really shocking, because in 2009, the then Secretary of State of the US, while visiting Kenya, he also put a ban on him. But today they've put a ban on him, his wife, and his son. And I really think this is, as I've said earlier, it's a big mockery on us, and this we should just deliberate on this as a country.
Yes, let's take a look at another story there very quickly on People Daily, page 14. It says that help to publish names, photos of defaulters who hold 50 billion shillings. Now, the board threatens to take legal action against 80,000 beneficiaries of student loans who are yet to pay up since 1975. The Higher Education Loans Board yesterday threatened to take legal action against the beneficiaries of the facility who have defaulted on repayment. In a notice, HELB said it would publish the names and pictures of over 80,000 loan beneficiaries who have defaulted from 1975 to date upon expiry of 30 days. I will not ask anything, but what is your 2 cents on this, Mr. Ruto? Having your photos being published, Kenyans are already complaining that the economy is bad. Jobs and businesses are being closed. People are being sacked left, right, and center. Businesses are being closed everywhere. Kenya itself is in huge debt. And here we are exposing people. Since 1975, can't we ask the question why these people have never really brought themselves forth to pay these loans?
As a comrade and as a student leader, this is coming at a time, and I totally disagree with what the HELB is doing. And I encourage even comrades not to even to pay HELB. Let me tell you something. It is the work of every government to educate its citizen. It is the work of every government to educate its citizen. Let me tell you, there is a quote that say, or a saying that say, you cannot spend what you don't have.
Yeah.
You cannot spend what you don't have. These are students. I graduate from campus. I go to the job market. I don't even get employment. And then you come in here, you tell me you want to publish my name. First, it is against the constitution of this country to publish a name of an individual in a state magazine without the guy, or rather without the notification, the consent of that person. If HELB is going forward to publish the name, I am asking the question, it is 80,000 people. Where in Kenyan magazine can you publish 80,000 photos? Can you even
faces?
Faces.
From 1975
for
to
1975, it will take a whole room. Can you even use the same money and pump in the same money to help and even safeguard this post? Because one, as students even in higher learning institution, we will come out and even storm HELB offices. In fact, I'm telling HELB, they don't even have to try that. Maybe they say that maybe as a concern, but going forward and publishing names, it will be something in this country which has not been seen before.
Keegan,
Number two,
okay.
finally,
very quickly,
very quickly,
20
finally,
seconds.
Finally, let me tell you something, Nani. In Kenya, graduates don't get, you know, if I'm a graduate and I'm getting 40,000, when you are getting 40,000, you have to pay rent, you have to pay your travel payments, you have to pay a lot of things, and then help is coming in and even taking some money. My friend, paying help is a crisis. In fact, the president should just read off help. If a president can read off coffee farmers in Muranga, the other time he read off, I think, 50 billion for coffee and tea farmers, he should do the same for help students, read off this help, and even help stop this nonsense of printing.
Okay, I'm being told we are out of time. If I can just take a comment here from someone, please, Saida, if you don't mind. There's a comment here that has come on Facebook. Okay, status, I think that is your name, if I'm not wrong. He says, sasa sisi kama tulichukua HELB inamaanisha in the beginning we did not have the money to pay for our own education. And right now, for example, I did a course in engineering and it has been 7 years. I have not gotten a single job out there in the market. Where should I get the money to pay the HELB that I got? Watch. Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen, for gracing this show. I'm sorry, Keegan, we cannot take your comment right now. I'm being told that we are out of time. Mr. Abdul Hakim Keegan and Mr. Victor Ruto, thank you very much for gracing the newspaper review. And thank you too for tuning in to the premier Islamic TV station, Horizon TV. See you in a short while on the other segment on the Sabah Show, when you'll be joined by Mohammed Abura. I hope he is around. If this the program on Tech Tuesday for the sake of Yusuf Farah. See you in a short while from me. Ma'assalam.
Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban. You are watching the Sabah Show. Keep it locked right here on Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation. On the next episode,
walam ta'rifu, huyu mwanamke hakumjua kama huyo ni nani, ni Mtume sallallahu. Fakila laha, kisha kukasemwa kuambiwa huyu mwanamke, huwa Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, yule aliyekwambia nche Mungu na usubiri, na ukamwambia niondokee, msiba huu haukukupacha wewe, ni mtume sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Fa akhadhaha mithlu almaut, akaja akafikiwa kama mfano wa mauti. Mimi yale niliyomwambia kumbe ni mtume sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Kasikia dhiki sasa.
Horizon TV, kurunzi ya taifa.
Jamia Training Institute Holiday Program is here with you. Register today for the following courses: Basic Arabic, Quran, Hadith, Fiqh, Life Skills, Sign Language, computer skills, and much, much more. Starting from 11th November to 6th December from 8:30 a.m. till 1 p.m. for 5,000 shillings only. Limited spaces are available. For more information, visit us at our new location at Jamia Towers, first floor, Murang'a Road, opposite Meridian Hotel, or call us on 0724 343318 or email us on jti@jamiamosque.co.ke. It's funny. It's Halal Life with the Ahmed family. It's 100% halal. Life with the Ahmed family comics and activity books are the perfect gift for any Muslim child. Full of important moral lessons, witty jokes, and beautiful illustrations. These amazing books will keep your kids entertained and asking for more. Get your Life with the Ahmed family books today at Textbook Center, Sarit Center, Nairobi.
Smiling is much better.
Dear viewers, in case of any feedback, advice, or complaints regarding our programming, contact Horizon TV on 0798 974747 or our live call-in number 0711 707 707 or send us a text message on 21951 or email us at info@horizontv.co.ke.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Wake up to exciting mornings every day. Active Jumatatu with Muhammad Obura. Tech Tuesday with Yusuf Farah. Wednesday, the special edition Business Chat with Ibtisam Jamal. All about your health on Healthy Thursdays with Mariam Mwacharo. Aisha Khan with thorny pertinent issues every Friday on the Round Table. Fresh discussions, direct probes in Sabah Show only on Horizon TV.
What are you and your family watching? Horizon TV, your premier Islamic TV station, bringing you the best in dawah, edutainment, inspiration, and more. Tune in now across Kenya as a free-to-air channel and on your preferred set-top box. Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Wanashitati nashta, watakaowafisha nyinyi ni malaika wa mauti.
Ishara zetu zinazotuongoza.
Ndipo hata Mwenyezi Mungu Subhanahu wa Ta'ala katika Qur'ani,
pokea ufahamu,
asema
na tahadhari,
la yanju min dhaqtati alqabri salihun wala talihun,
yazingatie,
haokoki na kufinywa na kaburi yoyote.
Jiunge na Sheikh Ali Bahero katika bishara zetu kila Jumanne saa 2 usiku kwenye Horizon TV.
Kiumbe dhaifu lakini jasiri.
Alitunukiwa sura nzima,
sura inayompa daraja yake inavyostahiki. Sharti ajigambe.
Naam, na pepo ipo chini ya nyayo zake.
Mpamba nyumba na nyoyo za wapendwa wake.
Anayebeba majukumu yake pasina kupinga.
Mtazamaji, je, unamfahamu anayezungumziwa?
Bila ya kusahau hadhi yake na haki zake.
Ungana nami Rahma Swaleh na Sheikh Juma Amir,
tukuelimishe na kukupa mwelekeo katika maisha ya ndoa
kwenye kipindi Dira ya Mwanamke,
kila Jumapili saa 2:30 usiku majira ya Afrika Mashariki ndani ya Horizon TV.
Practice this direction from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala perfectly.
Reminders from the member.
Msije mkafata nyayo na barabara na njia ya shetani.
Saingine Muslim anafikiria ni kupata mali neema.
With the best of Hatibs.
We tasted the pleasure, the sweetness of ibadah, because the Prophet ﷺ said,
There are no times that can be equal to these days except maybe.
Tune in to Horizon TV and watch Friday khutbahs from different masajid every Tuesday and Thursday at 5 p.m.
تبارك الذي نزل الفرقان على عبده ليكون للعالمين نذيرا.
Ni kitabu kitukufu
Qur'ani ni kitabu ambacho cha miujiza
kilichoteremshwa kwa mpangilio,
hazikuletwa harufu hizi za mkato moja kwa moja,
hakuna mfano wake,
na hamwezi nyinyi Makureishi kuwa ni wenye kutunga kitabu kama hiki ingawa zimetumia harufu zile ambazo mzitumia katika kuandika au katika kusema.
Miujiza yake Al-Malik.
Mwenyezi Mungu ana uwezo usiokuwa na kifano.
Ni malengo ya Qur'an.
Khazain zote za ardhi na samawat ziko mikononi mwake.
Sheikh Muhammad Badamana na uchambuzi wa Qur'an kwa undani kila Alhamisi saa 3 usiku kwenye Horizon TV.
How much makeup should a woman put when she's going out? Now, the answer to this is naturally a woman is created a very attractive person. And if she avoids, exposing her beauty, the better. Again, I go back, that's the whole purpose of hijab. So it should be very much on the minimal if she has to. And when I say the minimal, it means the natural, the lotion and what have you, and not lipstick, not the mascara, not the too much things that women tend to do. So when a woman is going out, then she should put it on the minimal, only do what is natural and avoid makeup as much as possible, because again, if she puts too much makeup, that will flout her hijab rules. So she should put it on the minimal, and if she wants to put makeup, she can put it inside her home, maybe before her husband and before her mahrams. Wallahu a'lam. How come Muslim men and women are not allowed to shake hands? Now, Muslim men and women are not supposed to shake hands because it is prohibited in the religion of Islam. And of course, as we said, this whole aspect, the hijab, the free mixing are all related. Therefore, we are not allowed to shake hands unless we are shaking hands with our mahrams, and that is to minimize fitna and of course to minimize anything that would come with the shaking of hands. Now, may I just mention that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibited zina, fornication, adultery, whichever we want to look at it, he did not just say do not commit, he said do not go near. And one of the things that would take us near zina is of course shaking hands, the eye contact and the other issues that we've been taught. And it has been reported authentically that Rasulullah ﷺ said it is better for a woman actually, for a man to hold a hot coal. And of course we have incidents where there are those who've been asked if you have to hold a woman's hand, then it's better you hold a hot coal than to hold her hand. So because of the fitna and what will come after that, we are not allowed to shake hands. Am I allowed as a woman to ask for divorce in a marriage that I feel it's not working? Yes, you're allowed to ask for divorce so long as that divorce you're asking is in accordance with the teachings of Islam. I always caution ladies, women, married women, not just to jump for divorce and ask for divorce maybe because the man used to have money, he could provide, now he's not able to provide, or because of any materialistic issues. So yes, that is a right you have as long as it is according to the teachings of the Quran and the Sunnah.